A very special edition of Business Morning this Thursday, the 14th of December, between Channels Television and the Chevening alumni, discussing the budgeting process, Budget 2018, and placing all of that within the context of the economy of the 180 million people for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let's go straight to our Abuja studios where two of our panelists and members of the Chevening seated. Samuel Boluru, you're going to take this off for us. The recurrent expenditure, which is basically salaries and wages, continue to be the lion king of our annual budget. How do you think we can handle this? Are you comfortable with this figure every year taking the lion's share of our annual budget?
Certainly, no Nigerian is comfortable with the amount of figure expended on recurrent expenditure. But of course, rather than looking at it in the area of the magnitude of the recurrent expenditure, you should look at it from the total size of the budget. The budget of 2018 is around $24 billion US. And if you look at what other countries are actually earmarking for the annual budget, it goes more beyond that. You have countries budgeting something like $500 billion US, you understand, $600 billion. But of course, we still have to look at our revenue base. How do we increase our revenue base? And also, if you look at the debt servicing alone, it goes around 24% of the total budget. So certainly we are left with just 75% for the whole year. So the recurrent expenditure is...
Let's get this conversation going. So we're stepping into 2018, the year when everyone believes in our political cycle, electioneering will be a major discuss. So how will the country's finances and everything be managed? And that's one of the questions I put to the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, a few weeks ago. And this is what he has to say from the monetary side of things. Let's take a listen.
The point is that the Monetary Policy Committee and the Monetary Policy Authorities, we will analyze the data that we have. Of course, from time to time during the election, there's always electioneering spending. And that is the reason why the Monetary Policy Committee will look at what is the optimal level of liquidity that you need to run the economy at a particular point in time. And the appropriate decisions will be taken to ensure that the adverse consequences of spending, right, does not really result into unexpected outcomes that may hurt the economy at that time.
Would that be a difficult thing for you?
Nothing is difficult. Nothing is impossible, but I'm telling you that this will be solved. Just like 2015 came and it went, right? Unfortunately, even it came at a time when there was an economic crisis. We're hoping that 2018, with the stability in crude prices, coupled with the fact that we're building reserves at this time, coupled with the fact that by that time, hopefully, we would have been able to tame inflation to a level that is comfortable and that is good for the country, we will deal with the situation when it confronts us.
The Governor of the Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele. Also, the panelists here in Lagos. Landry, let's return to you for about 1 minute very quickly. In terms of what your outlook is for 2018, do you think the electioneering and the political fever of the next year will impact on perhaps part of the rollover of 2017 budget into 2018 and the life of 2018 budget itself?
I mean, our outlook is will remain positive. Glad to hear the governor, the CBN governor, taking proactive steps ahead of the year. I mean, he's very. I mean, whereas electioneering is going to happen in 2018, and the things, the monetary policy, and we're hoping also the fiscal policy is, planning ahead. Outlook, like I said, is, it remains positive. If oil continues to stabilize in the high 60s, production is very, very key. If we are hitting our targets, I'm one of the few people that I still believe oil. We just can't move. We can't run away from it. I mean, I think oil could be a plus for us. Income from oil can be used to diversify the economy.
We can't move away from. We need to move away from oil, but we can't run away from it.
It's a low-hanging fruit. It's there. The oil is in the ground.
Yes. So let's balance running away from oil and moving away.
Of course.
So diversification is the conversation about moving away from oil.
Very important.
But we can't run away from it.
We can't. I mean, there seems to be some populist rhetoric around oil.
So people still get upset on social media and on the street that, yes, we're delivering some numbers around the oil-induced numbers, but doesn't translate to breakfast, lunch, or dinner table.
Not to the, what we need it to be yet. But I still think we need to sweat the particular assets. What we need to, I do agree with diversification. We need to save for a rainy day. But I still believe whatever we get out of oil, we can use to grow other sectors of the economy. In addition to borrowing, in addition to other sources of revenue of the government.
Okay. Johnson Chukwu, how do you think we need to spend this oil rainfall that we have very quickly? Well, it's not raining as it was many years ago, but it's still raining. For if you look at 20, 25, 30 to 60, $65 a barrel, well, it's quite some decent amount of money. Some folks say we can actually survive on $40 a barrel, consistently speaking, if we put a house in order. Do you agree with that?
Yes. If you look at the current year, the average oil price was until recently about $50 per barrel. And our budget for 2017 was benchmarked at $44.5 per barrel. The current budget, the Presidency of the National Assembly was based on $45 per barrel. The National Assembly has increased to $47 per barrel. We've seen oil price trading about $63 to $65 per barrel. That's a positive variance of about $18 per barrel, which should be going to excess crude account. So the question is, how do we use the excess crude account? Are we going to move it to the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority so that they can have a structure of managing it? The Investment Authority has actually 3 funds. You have the Future Generation Fund, the Infrastructure Fund, and the Stabilization Fund. The Infrastructure Fund is supposed to be a co-investment fund to build infrastructure. So that way we will have some structure. But the basic thing is that the excess crude that we're having, I understand the President has given authority for the Ministry of Finance to disburse the balance of Paris Club's refund. So the next thing, now they no longer have Paris Club refund, the next thing the government will be attacking is the excess crude that is building up now. So the key thing is that the President must be resolute in deciding on how we're going to use excess crude. It must go exclusively into infrastructure. If I were to decide, it should go to the Sovereign Investment Authority, and should be distributed to the 3 tiers of funds that they have, so that we're not just building infrastructure, we also have something to stabilize in case of drop in oil price, and also we have funds for the next generation of Nigerians.
Well, we have some, we'll get about 2-3 minutes in this section to take a break. We have some plans on ground, the ERGP and what have you, we have the framework. And do you think the budget 2017, 2018, if we lump them together, should be able to deliver us that deadline we're looking at for the ERGP 2019 by the time this administration is signing off its first 4 years in office?
Okay, well, everything's about timing. For instance, what happened in the previous year should not happen with 2018 budget. Budget should be approved on time so that capital expenditure disbursement can start on time and to go into infrastructure development, and for us to begin to see the impact on the social and economic lives of the people. So that needs to be done. Timing, is very, very critical. The other thing really is the diversification plans of the government must be intensified. Long term, really, we should dispense with oil. But right now, there's not much that we can do about it. It's there, and it's for us to just exploit and manage the revenues that come from it effectively, for the advancement of the economy of Nigeria. Then also, human capital development, health services. Go to our hospitals, really. What do people get out of the place? Education. We hear about a few 10 million children out of school. We need to educate our people. Otherwise, it will be a recipe for disaster, as we go along. The Northeast, for instance, the rehabilitation of the Northeast, the development of the Northeast, exactly what we're trying to do in the Niger Delta. We also need to replicate there as well, in order to ensure that there's even development across the country. And we cannot afford, the current situation that we have to continue.
Before we take a break, Wale, thank you very much. Let's go quick to Abuja and talk to Mr. Ame, one of our 2 Chiefney alumni panelists there. Mr. Ame, you have 2 minutes to answer this question. When you look at the state of the 36 federating states, and how important do you think is their roles in making sure that everything really goes well as far as budget delivery, helping the federal government to deliver at the state level?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very useful question, because the success of Nigeria as a country is the aggregate success of the states. And so when the governors consistently demonstrate lack of capacity or suboptimal capacity, it drags the country down. Because when you are in a federating structure, you know, the sort of federal structure that we run, where the states are near autonomous, and if you add on top of that albatross, you know, the fact that the government